It's okay, Leonard. It's okay. Just let it all out.
Jurgen said as Leonard vomited stomach acid-covered grot meat onto the forest floor. The Ogor's massive hand patting Leonard's back surprisingly gently.
Good thing you held it in until after we got out of the camp,
Jurgen continued.
The Gutbusters would have taken your vomiting as a personal insult.
I guessed as much, Leonard replied. But it was really hard. And also, I feel weird.
Ah, that's the grot meat. All the mushrooms Gloomspite gets consumed gives their flesh a certain kick. To the Ogors, it gives us a mildly pleasant buzz, like when you drink an entire keg of mead. But I'm not sure what the effects on a human would.
Jurgen paused as he noticed a distant look in Leonard's eyes.
Leonard?
You ever wonder if there aren't 9 realms, but one that's seen through different mirrors? Leonard questioned, the scholar turning his gaze to the suddenly interesting sky.
I see. Alright, Leonard. How about I drop you off at the nearest Free Guild outpost? They should probably be able to get you back home. And along the way, I'll tell you about the Mawtribes. That sound interesting?
I wonder what Sigmar looks like under his beard. Or does he have a second beard? Is it beards all the way down?
I'll take that as a yes.
Now, Leonard, you know that a tribe of Beastclaw Raiders is known as a Alfroston, and that a tribe of Gutbusters is known as a Warglut. But sometimes, Ogors of differing cultures might band together to form a larger force, known as a Mawtribe, combining the eating power of all these Ogors to become one all-consuming horde. Now there are many Mawtribes, but I'll tell you the more successful ones, the ones you'll most likely meet out there in the realms.
The Meat Fist. The city has fallen. It's time to feast. The Meat Fist Mawtribe claims to be the greatest Mawtribe of them all, and considering the tide of meat these Ogors have streamed into their bellies over the centuries, from numerous points across the realms, it's easy to see why they think so. Tales of this Mawtribe's successes have been heard across the realms, and just saying their name can cause shivers down the spines of other races. This belief, and admittedly their wide-ranging victories, means that the Meat Fists have an arrogance that makes them the absolute worst to be around. They always take over the best hunting grounds, knowing that other Mawtribes won't risk protesting. And even as they hunt, they make it a point of pride to eat everything in their path, not even leaving scraps for anyone else to snack on. I'll tell you, Leonard, it's absolutely rude. One of the big reasons for their success is their size. They have the greatest number of Ogors out of any Mawtribe. This is due to the strength of their legend. Everyone wants to work for the winners after all, and because the Meat Fist Mawtribe is especially skilled at absorbing smaller Mawtribes. Eating their leaders and forcing the troops to join them will become their next meal. All of this leading to a massive, fleshy stampede of Ogor gluttons combining together to form an unstoppable feast that has ravaged the realm since the Age of Myth. Another reason for their success, although this is somewhat more recent, is their current tyrant. The current leader of the Meat Fist Mawtribe, Glob Glittermaw, is an interesting fellow, wearing expensive-looking crimson robes and with a jaw stuffed with jewels. You would think he was just a fool obsessed with only looking important. But that fancy clothing hid a cleverness that can easily catch you unawares. When he was an Iron Gut, his former tyrant lord exploded under mysterious circumstances. Glob told his fellow Iron Guts that it was a sign from the Gulping God that he should be the next tyrant. The old tyrant's slaughtermaster thought the explosion might have had more to do with the explosive crystals someone had laced into the old tyrant's wine. The slaughtermaster made some unwise accusations, and ended up tripping into his own cauldron, boiling alive. No ogres really questioned Glob's leadership claims after that. Under his rule, he had the brilliant idea to store loot instead of eating it, to use it to trade for items the Mawtribes actually needed from other powers. And he grew the strength of the Mawtribe even further by selling his Mawtribe's forces to other races as mercenaries, giving those Ogors the chance to gain experience in fighting races from across the mortal realms, and of course, eat their flesh. The Blood Gullet. Meat tastes best when it's still screaming. The Blood Gullet Mawtribe is obsessed with blood. They believe blood is the root of flesh's power, and not those delicious muscles and tendons. Because of this, they always make sure to cut enemies' arteries in battle, to get torrents of the red stuff spraying into the air. And, when they win, make sure to eat their victims alive, to ensure they get the freshest source of blood possible. If you even suggest to the Mawtribe's butchers that they add some spices, or even cook the meat, they look at you with absolute disgust. Honestly, Leonard, they are terrible at parties. If I hear one more of them talk about the benefits of drinking blood, when I'm trying to enjoy a nice beast mam shish kebab, I'm going to scream. This focus on blood causes their skin to have a reddish color and become a bit bloated, like they have more blood than is needed going through their bodies. They're also covered in scabs and horrendous scars, caused by refusing to heal or clean their wounds to let that rich red stuff flow freely. So it's common to see these ogres still covered in blood days after a battle, refusing to bathe as their own blood and that of their enemies mix together to form a... Well, I was gonna be polite, but I can't. They smell, reek even, and I've faced Nurgle worshippers. Old blood and the amount of sweat a ogre can produce in a day make ogres of other Mawtribes avoid their company. Still, this blood obsession must have some benefits, as the butchers and slaughter masters of this Mawtribe tend to be the most powerful around. Calling themselves the heralds of the gulping god, they are able to sniff out fresh blood easier than most, and have some fairly powerful spells at their disposal. The Underguts. Look at those limbs fly. From the deepest, darkest caverns of Ogor come the Underguts Mawtribe, a tribe of Ogors who, after centuries of eating the various types of hideous and disgusting creatures that inhabit that realm, have a skin of greenish-yellow color, and drool composed of vile and poisonous liquids that constantly drip from their mouth. They also have a taste for the most putrid and disgusting flesh possible. I mean, I know Ogors have a reputation for eating anything, but you'll find few Ogors as excited to eat a Fellwater Troggoth as an Undergut. Another strange talent they seem to have is as diggers, a talent which was quite useful for their assault on Kazakh Fulgar. Kazakh Fulgar was an old Duerden stronghold renowned during the Age of Myth for their special gunpowder, a secret mixture that made it more effective than most. During the Age of Chaos, they hid, thinking they were safe in their mountain stronghold, and I'm sure with adequate defenses for any possible Skaven or Gloomspite Git incursion. What they couldn't have expected were tunneling Ogors. The battle was brutal and brief, and the victorious Underguts took the Duerden's gunpowder secrets and made the mountain their new Gluthold, calling it Mount Bellow. Since then, they have become a threat to many a fortress and stronghold across the mortal realm. Digging underneath defenses, and on the open field of battle, these gunmasters love using their lead belchers and iron blasters to turn their enemies to mush, before sending in their gluttons to finish up. The Boulder Head. The beasts are getting hungry. Let them hunt. The ogres of the Boulder Head Mawtribe are known as malcontents and troublemakers amongst other ogres. Calling themselves the Savard, the Unbreakable Ones, they proclaim themselves the strongest and toughest ogres around, the true warriors of Gorka Morka, yelling out that all other ogres, compared to them anyway, are weak-bellied fools, a fact they try to prove constantly with fights with other ogre Mawtribes who look at them wrong. And this boast is actually somewhat true. The ogres of this Mawtribe constantly consume rocks and metals to toughen their bodies, the minerals thickening their flesh and making their bones dense and harder to crack. Plus, the Mawtribe's lifetime of relentless battles ensure that any weak ogres are culled from the clan, leaving only the strongest ogres alive. This quest for the strongest also extends to their mounts. They breed the strongest mounts through a rather brutal method. Newly whelped mounts and riderless ogres battle to the death in camps. The survivors of these fighting pits, both mount and ogre, perform a ritual known as Urask Or. Slices of blubber from an Ogor and a potential mount are carved from their flesh and fed to each other. This sharing of blubber between mount and Ogor forms a bond that makes them more in tune with each other. This bond is so effective that even if a mount is ripped apart by enemy missile fire, it will keep running to the bitter end to ensure its bonded Ogor reaches its enemies. The Thunderbellies. Ride them down! The Thunderbellies are a relatively young tribe, really coming to rise in what humans would call the Age of Sigmar. Birthed in the lightning-strewn sky roads of Shaman, the alchemical thunders that strike there infuse the flesh of Ogor and Mount, giving them formidable speed they use to great effect to rapidly charge into enemy ranks. Perhaps because of the thunderous energies of Shaman, the Everwinter that follows the Beastclaw raiders of this Maw tribe is more energetic and swifter than most, meaning this Maw tribe must constantly be on the move or risk freezing solid. Thankfully, they developed a way to eat on the move, spearing their meals on long pikes as they ride by, and placing them on their mounts to eat later. A sort of fast food. When they aren't competing with thunder ogres in the hunt for powerful thunderstorms, or racing down the skyways of Shaman looking for the gulping god, they are in search for the most prized meat of all, lightning meat. It is believed that the lightning energy of slain Stormcast has great power, and the Thunderbellies will do anything to consume it. How is this possible? I'm not sure. But butchers of this Maw tribe claim they have found a way to stuff Stormcast lightning into a cauldron. If this is true, then I can only assume it is one hell of a meal. The Winter Bite. Surprise is a flavor all its own. The Ogors of the Winter Bite Maw tribe are mysterious, even to other Ogors. They mainly keep to themselves, and avoid others when at all possible. There is also something about them that other Ogors find off. I mean, how can you trust Ogors who prefer to eat their meals frozen? It's unnatural. The Everwinter that follows this Maw tribe takes the form of a freezing fog, which the Maw tribe has learned to use to conceal themselves. To further aid in their stealth, their skin has gone pale, and they breed their Mournfang mounts with pale winter fur. Using these changes, they have become masters of ambush warfare, using their environment as a weapon, and performing lightning raids to strike fear in the foe like ghosts in a blizzard. And when the enemy finally breaks and scatters, they go in for the final blow. It's why they're called the Freya, the Unseen Hunters. After a successful hunt, the Ogors leave a few victims in honor of Gorka Morka, staking the victims into the ground to freeze to death in the cold depths of the Everwinter. A waste of food in my opinion, but I consider myself an open-minded Ogor, and I'm willing to accept other forms of worship. Well, Leonard, that's the Maw tribes in a nutshell. What do you think?
Jurgen asked Leonard, the scholar now hanging limply off the ogre's massive shoulder.
You ever think that maybe this world is actually a game to otherworldly beings who see us as tiny figures on a table with the rules constructed by a workshop made of games?
Leonard replied, before finally falling unconscious. Jurgen laughed and motioned his Mournfang mount to continue walking forward, wondering what other silly notions the drug-addled scholar would spew on their travels. Hey guys, this is Arvandus, and I hope you're doing well in these trying times. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, press the little bell so you know whenever I post, etc., etc. And if you really like it and are inclined, and if you can, especially nowadays, please send a little money my way through my Patreon or my Ko-fi accounts. The extra money you donate gives me the time I need to work on these stories I love. Anyway, thanks for listening/watching, and see you next time.